Hello everyone, and welcome to the week after Thanksgiving / fall break. Hello, if you're new to my channel, my name is Marily Sanchez and I'm a 4th grade teacher in South Florida. Today is Monday, November 27th, 2023, and it is actually my half birthday. That means that in 6 months from today, it will be my birthday and I will be a year older. So today was an amazing day, back from break, seeing all my students here. Only a few of them were out today, 1 from one class, 2 from the other. But we had such an amazing day today, day full of learning and activities and engagement. And I'm just so happy to be back in my classroom with my students. So let me go ahead and share with you what we ended up working on today. Starting off with the activity that my students had as soon as they came in this morning. I am so thankful for my past self because I had left this ready to go before I left for fall break. And this was all on the students' desk as we came in this morning. So here are the directions. The students had to write and draw a quick picture. I also shared with them a slide from my daily slides that had the directions, and I also added a success criteria so that they knew how I would be scoring their papers and they knew what they needed to do in order to be successful. And here is that slide with the directions, and for the success criteria, we were specifically looking for clearly focused on the writing topic. Descriptive details are included to provide a vivid picture of the experience that they had during fall break, skillful use of appropriate and varied word choice to describe the experience, and of course, the writer's voice needs to be distinct to add that personal touch to their writing. So students worked on that, and then I introduced the new unit that we are currently working on in Wonders, which is Unit 3, Weeks 1 and 2. To introduce the unit, I simply went to my Wonders dashboard, and I started by showing them the students the photo that went with our essential question, and we discussed what we observed in the photo. Then we went into our weekly opener video that showed different ways that people help out in their community. And we also read the Study Blast Sync, which further goes over volunteering as one way that people can help in their community. We looked at the number crunch, which is right here, and I have the students think about what that could mean as we are reading the passage. And then after we're done reading the passage, the students will then discover what that number meant. So we read this passage together, and then afterwards, students told me what they thought the number was, which this one happened to be the number of Americans who volunteered in 2013. After that, I took the students to our read aloud. And with our read aloud, as I am reading aloud the story, I'm doing some think-alongs. I have these images on the board that students can look at as we're going through the passage. And I also have some students think-alongs so that they can also engage in the skills that we're working on. For this particular unit, we're back to realistic fiction, and we're focusing on the reading skill of visualize, as well as character perspective and using context clues to determine the meaning of words. After that, we went ahead and reviewed our vocabulary words by going through the different digital vocabulary cards and talking about the meaning of the words as they're used in context. And then after that, we went ahead and did an activity. The activity is very similar to the matching activity that we did before fall break on future skills for our argumentative essay. But in this case, the students had either the blue paper, which had the vocabulary words, or the green paper, which had the definitions. After I passed out the paper, students had to get up and find a student with the opposite color, and they had to work together to match the definition to the vocabulary word. The people with the vocabulary word would put the number of the definition. The people with the definitions will write the word down that matched that definition. And here is the digital answer key that I created for that. So as you can see, if the students had the green sheet, they would write the word that corresponded to that definition. And then, of course, once they did that, for example, number 1 was mature, the people with the blue sheet will find the word mature and put a 1 in the circle. In retrospect, with this particular activity, I would make the circle where they put the number a little bit bigger, or maybe put a box at the bottom of each word where the students will write the number nice and big so it's more visible and clearly seen by me and the other students. So that's what we worked on, and that was our day. That's basically it. And the students had a homework assignment on character perspective, and I ended up creating a mini lesson video on Canva, and I just posted it on Class Dojo to help the students with their homework this week. The video ended up being like about 6 minutes. I wanted it to be short, and I just want to give you a quick look at a glance through the video so you can kind of see. I'm not going to show you the video. I'm just going to show you the slides that make up the video. I have to say that I absolutely love all the different things that you can do with Canva. So here's my little Miss Sanchez mini lessons, and I started with character perspective. And as you can see, Canva even allows you to record yourself, and it just goes with the slides. So I define character perspective, and I show different examples of how they can determine the character perspective. One example uses Charlotte's Web, looking at Wilbur the pig. The second example uses Matilda, and the third example uses Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Then I went and I reviewed some tips on how they can find character perspective, and I remind them it's all about looking at the thoughts, feelings, and reactions of the characters in a story. Then I shared this particular story, and this is one that I came up with the help of ChatGPT, my friends. I just, kind of had an idea, gave it to ChatGPT, and I edited it and I rewrote it. So here it is. And it goes with what we're currently working on. So this is the story. That's the first page. Here's the second page of that story, the third page, and finally, here it is. And once we go over the story, we look at that graphic organizer, which is similar to the one the students are currently working on. And they find the perspective of these three characters, looking at the three details, and that makes up the character perspective. So then I went ahead and gave some last minute reminders on how to find character perspective and what it is, and a last slide to hopefully help them use these tips to assist them with finding character perspective in the future. So like I said, I shared this in Class Dojo, and hopefully it'll be some assistance for my students and their families as they complete that graphic organizer with that passage that they're reading tonight or for this week. Anyway, I have to go because I didn't realize how late it is. It is 6 o'clock and it is pitch black outside. So I'm going to go, but I'll see you tomorrow. We have made it to the end of the day, Tuesday, and I finished with my Minecraft club today. So it's a long day for me. And today we ended up starting with my Block 2, my ELL students, and they completed a vocabulary practice, which of course was going over the same words that we were working on yesterday with our matching activity that the students worked in groups. So they matched the words to the meanings, and they also worked on a word search, finding the words in the word search. Then after that, I went ahead and started reading with them the scaffolded ELL shared read for remembering Hurricane Katrina, but we also did some background knowledge with that, making sure they remembered about hurricanes and letting them know a little bit more about Hurricane Katrina specifically. So we haven't finished with the scaffolded read yet, since it's such a long passage when it's scaffolded because it's chunked into smaller pieces of the text. There's a total of 6 sections. So tomorrow we'll make sure we make it all the way to section 4 so that we're right on track for that, so that we can be done by the end of this week. With my Block 1, which I had after lunch, we started by going ahead and reading the shared read selection, but I made sure that I also went over the background knowledge with them, reminding them about hurricanes, how they form, and how we are affected by them. And then, of course, they watched the video on Hurricane Katrina so they can have that background knowledge as well. Then we went ahead and read Remembering Hurricane Katrina. And tomorrow we'll do a second read of that. They'll answer the fine text evidence questions and work on another reading assignment with that. One thing I forgot to share with you yesterday was that we started Patterns of Power with my Block 1, which is my advanced group, and I had them set it up in their writer's notebook. So what I told them is to take their writer's notebook and just flip it just like that. So we're on the flip side, and I had them create a table of contents, not a table of contents, a cover for it. So Patterns of Power, POP for short. And we started by having the students go to the very next page, fold it in half so that we have a 4-quadrant page. And I had them put mentor sentence and notice. We didn't get to do compare and contrast today, so we'll make sure we do that tomorrow. And the first part of imitate. So this is our mentor sentence. Mr. and Mrs. Watson have a pig named Mercy by Kate DeCamillo from Mercy Watson to the Rescue. And what we did is we just noticed, what did we notice about the sentence? And we made a list, which then led us to our focus phrase. I capitalized names. So tomorrow I'm going to show them a sentence that's similar to this, and we're going to compare it to see how it is the same and how it is different. And over here will be imitate, where they use the sentence, the mentor sentence, to imitate and write their own following our focus phrase, I capitalized names. So that's how I'm hoping to use patterns of power with my students this year. So that's basically pretty much what we went over today. Let me show you my slide for the Smart Start this morning, which these are my slides for today. So they have their Smart Start. This is only for the group that starts with me in the morning. And then this is what we ended up going over with the review, what the words were with the matching, and how to find the words in the word search. Another thing that we reviewed with both classes was the vocabulary words. So just like before, I have the word with a definition, a sentence using the word, a synonym or synonyms, and antonym for each word, and a GIF that goes along with what the word means. So here's assigned, here's generosity, gingerly, mature, organizations, residents, scattered, I love that one, and selective. So that is what we went over as well today. In the ELL PowerPoint, of course, I also went over background knowledge with the students. This is the video on the hurricane facts, and this is the video on Hurricane Katrina that the students went over. This PowerPoint also goes over the vocabulary words with similar pictures and GIFs so that the students have an understanding of what it means. And of course, with some vocabulary practice as well. This one is related to Hurricane Katrina. So once we are done, I will have the students complete this word wall activity. Again, this is something that is created by our district, and we use it with the students so that we go over the skills and what we are working on in this particular unit, which is a 2-week unit. Visualize is the reading strategy that we're working on, and we're also working on flashbacks, point of view, and character perspective as well. And of course, it also goes with the character perspective video that I created yesterday. So that's it for today. I will see you tomorrow in a few short seconds. It's the end of the day, Wednesday, and today was a pretty good day. I started with my block 1 this morning, and as soon as they came in, they started working on the same vocabulary activity that I showed you my block 2 did yesterday morning with the vocabulary matching and the word search. They saw that the other class did a word search, so they wanted to do one too, so I said, why not? So they worked on that this morning, and then we did a reread of the shared read, Remembering Hurricane Katrina. The students took turns reading it out loud, and they also took turns doing turn-on talks at different points in the story so that they can look at the author's craft a little bit deeper. And then it was time for our writing assignment. So for today, the students got into groups of 2 to 4 students, and they were working on completing only one evidence bucket on one specific skill that they wanted to focus on for that body paragraph, and then they will work together to write the body paragraph. So let me show you the printables that I created to go along with this activity. I created a bigger version of the bucket, and I had the students write their group member names on the top, the date, and well, the first edition of this didn't have a date, but now this one does. They would put their reason or idea here that supports the argumentative prompt that they are currently writing and the evidence that supports why the students need that particular skill. The body paragraph paper looks like this. Again, the students write their names up here and the date, and I have my tree strategy right here. So transition plus reason/idea, that's your topic sentence, followed by evidence and elaboration. And I included this little visual of this hamburger tree down here so that they remember that's what they're doing. Now, as an example, I finished this. I started it with them, but I finished this after they left. And I wrote my name and Gemini Taya Mumbo Jumbo. These are two of some of my favorite Minecrafters. But I put here an idea. For example, one of the skills that we read about that students need to have to prepare them for jobs in the future is critical thinking. And I went to the sources and I gathered the information. I did it in different fonts because the students need to take turns adding to the paper so that I see that every student is contributing. So this is all the text evidence that supports why critical thinking is needed. And this is the body paragraph that I came up with that I will go over with the students tomorrow. So they have more of an idea how they can go ahead and write it. Now, this is a very long paragraph. They don't have to write it so long, but I want to show them a good model so that they can see how they can add their evidence and elaborate on it. I also wanted to show you the slides for today. Like I said, the same Smart Start activity. And then the students actually took turns coming to the board to highlight the words that they found. And then I decided to put our shared read on the board so it would be easier for me to annotate using the PowerPoint annotations. And it saves it right here on the slide as we were annotating the text and answering the fine text evidence questions on the margin. So that's what we did today with block 1. With block 2, which is my ELL students, we continued reading the shared read, but the scaffolded version of the shared read, and got through section 4. So we're almost done. We have 2 more sections to go through the story, so we'll finish that tomorrow. And the students also have a similar activity with the writing that my block 1 had, but of course it is scaffolded for them since they're just learning the language English, and they'll also work with a group. So that is pretty much what we did today. After school, we had an important meeting for testing because we're already getting started to test the FAST, which is the Florida Assessment for Student Thinking. Next week, we start Progress Monitoring 2. And that'll give us some information on how the students are progressing from the first progress monitoring till now. So that will start testing for us Thursday, Friday next week. But next week I am taking a day off because I have a very important appointment with my son that I can't change. So at least I'll be here for the first day of testing with them. But that is all that I have for today. I am not getting out of here when it is dark outside. So I will see you tomorrow. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the end of the day, Thursday. It is 3:30 and I'm just going to grab my things and get out of here at a decent time because I've been staying late for the past couple of days and it's Thursday, but we've had a good day today. This morning, my students, I started with my ELL group and they started working on the Learning Reflection Journal. So let me show you that slide right now. Here are my Thursday slides, and this is their Smart Start directions for this morning. So I went ahead and put the instructions here for them with the symbols. And those symbols correspond to the Learning Reflection Journal. So the light bulb moment, of course, is a moment that they had in their learning that was an aha moment. The stellar standout was something that they really liked from a lesson or an activity. Piecing it together is a connection they made from new learning to what they already knew. And on the back, they have roadblocks and solutions. So something that was challenging for them and how they solved it or how they can solve it. Then after this, because we're in the window for iReady growth checks, we went on our laptops and we ended up working on the reading growth check. All the students took it. After that, we continued reading our scaffolded shared read and answering the questions that followed each chunked text. And we actually ended up finishing the entire passage, but the students need to finish answering the remainder of the questions, which they will keep on working on tomorrow. And then once they're done with that, they'll have another activity to go over character perspective and point of view as it relates to this passage. I'll probably have them work together in groups, and then we'll focus more on our writing. With my block 1, which I had this afternoon, my advanced group, we started right away with our iReady growth check. Some of the students had it. The other students who didn't have it were working on their iReady minutes. That actually ended up taking longer than I expected. And then because they earned some Minecraft time at the end of the day, we went ahead and finished with some Minecraft time for 30 minutes. So that is all for today, Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. We're going to start with ketchup and pickles, catch up on all these incomplete assignments that we've had for a few weeks, including this week. And then we'll try to get ahead on our future skills argumentative essay. So I'll see you in a few short minutes to close out the week. Hello, everyone. We have made it to the end of the day, Friday, the end of this week, which was week 15. Wow. And we had a great day today as well. So this morning I started with my block 1. And as soon as they came in, we were doing some ketchup and pickles, specifically one character perspective chart and reading response question that we didn't get to finish. And this is what we started with today. So here are my Friday slides, and yay, it's the first day of December. So here's our ketchup and pickles slide. Basically, we were completing unfinished work, and once the students finished, they had some pickles activities to work on. These were the poems that we were referring to, which were from the previous unit, but we hadn't had time to finish this particular activity on character perspective, which is actually pretty great because we're currently working on character perspective still. So we had already done this part of the chart where the students needed to write who the speaker was and how they knew, what was the topic of the poem, and what is the speaker's perspective. Then they needed to use this information to write the response to the question, how do the speakers of each poem show their perspective? I started by helping the students come up with their topic sentence for this response. Then I gave a little bit of the answer, but while they were working, I finished writing the rest of this answer so that students would know what to do. I then gave students time to finish their responses. I started first with 15 minutes, but then students needed 10 more minutes and then 10 more minutes again. I wanted to make sure they did a good job because this was the last day for us to make sure we finished this assignment. And then after that, we went into our writing activity where they got back into groups working on their body paragraph that I kind of previewed for you earlier this week. These are the papers that I ended up giving to each group so that they can do their best in writing their paragraph as a group. So I gave them a color copy version of the example paragraph that I showed you earlier, and I made sure that I highlighted each part of the tree strategy, and I also gave it to them in color, of course, so that they can see the transitions, they can see their reason statement, which this becomes their topic sentence for the whole paragraph. The blue is the evidence, and the orange is their elaboration. I also went ahead and gave them this particular resource again so that they had access to transitional phrases, the pencil elaboration strategy, and the cite evidence strategy so that they make sure they made references to the text and worked on making sure they had a full response. So that was block 1. Then with my block 2, we started by completing our scaffolded shared read. So what we did here was we reread this little section for the 6th section, and we finished answering the questions that followed it and used that information to help us answer the main question for section 6. Then after that, it was time for writing, and they ended up doing the future skills, matching the evidence and elaboration to the skills activity that I did with my advanced group last week, I believe. So they did it today, and then we ended the day with some Minecraft since they earned it for the week. So let me show you again that future skills activity. So here it is. Students either got this yellow paper, which had the skills that were mentioned in all 3 different sources, and the other students will get the blue sheet, which had the evidence and elaboration examples for those. So what we ended up doing in order to get the answers as they are, so as you can see, they matched the evidence to the correct skills, and then they circled, those of them that had the blue paper, they circled a symbol that went with the skill that was on the yellow paper. I went ahead and used the sources to show the students. Source 1 talks about the Space Center and those 3 skills right there. Source 2 talks about skills for the future and these 5 skills starting with critical thinking. Source 3 talks about social entrepreneurs, and those are the skills that they need. So that they knew when they got to this paper, source 1 was about science, math, technology. Source 2 was about those 5 skills, starting with critical thinking, like you see over here. And source 3 talked about social entrepreneurs, which were with helping others. So that goes with those. So that's how we ended up working on this activity. I also ended up doing a new seating arrangement for next week in preparation for upcoming testing. The desks are all ready to go with new tiny little name tents so the students know where they're sitting with this new seating arrangement, along with their assignment as soon as they come in Monday morning, their Smart Start, their answering questions on our shared read, Remembering Hurricane Katrina. So that's it for today for this week. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought or any questions you may have. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell for notifications so you don't miss any future videos. I hope you have a beautiful, magical day, and don't forget to smile.
Hello dreamers, wishers, and magical thinkers. Thank you so much for making it to the very end of this video and for showing your support. If you'd like to subscribe, you can do so by clicking on my picture down here. You can also check out my latest videos here and here. Don't forget to believe in the magic that's inside you because you are capable of great things. See you next time.